What's up, guys? Hello. It's been a while. Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to Dylan's Little Hobbies. Yeah, I have no idea if anyone is even going to join me live. I do have a friend. My buddy Steven might actually join. I don't know if he's going to be able to join me live or not. Hopefully he does. Yeah, we're going to be discussing something that honestly I did not want to discuss live, but like I feel like I should. I feel like I should because the entire situation the other day, a former friend, Nindroid, literally, and of course, you can see right here, I made an entire script for this live stream because I want to make sure that I don't forget anything. But a former friend, Nindroid243, aka Seth, did a live stream that he always takes his live streams down. He takes his live streams down, but he talks about everything that was going on with the group, with our group. And I want to make this clear. This video is absolutely no shade to him, no shade to everyone in the group. I have no beef with this guy. There's no drama here. It's all water under the bridge because it's just honestly because he decided to talk about all of this live and give his point of view. I decided, you know what? For those who are interested in it, I would just give my point of view. There's nothing wrong with what he did going live talking about this. I just wanted to share my side of the story and discuss everything that was going on right from the beginning. And yes, I wrote a script because I wanted to make sure I didn't leave anything out like he did, because he did leave some important stuff out from his live stream the other day. Um, First off, Seth, talking directly to you, I hope you're listening to this, man. I really do. I want to say thank you for the awesome ride, despite how it ended. And again, I hold no anger towards you at all. Nothing. I hold nothing towards you at all, man. Nothing at all, brother. Nothing. It all started when I was watching The Mandalorian Season 2, Star Wars, on Star Wars Theory's channel. You couldn't talk to Star Wars Theory because, well, you couldn't talk to Star Wars Theory because his chat was, like, so wild, you couldn't get anything through. So I decided, you know what, to search for another streaming, someone else talking about The Mandalorian, and I found this little live stream, this little quirky group of friends on a channel called Nindroid243. I began enjoying their content and even got invited into their Discord group. During this time, oh boy, if I can get my mouse to work here, my mouse does not want to work tonight. I think my mouse is running out of power, which is not good for a live stream, but whatever, we're going to be doing this anyway. There we go. And boy. During this time, I had my own channel, and I'm not gonna lie, after years of creating content and just about hating it, I only had 50 subs and like 25. Like, I'm not even kidding, half of my subs was just my family members. Like, I wasn't really doing good despite making the YouTube channel for years. I wasn't doing it right. And then seeing Nindroid243, who invited me into the group. Actually, it was Sour. I ended up befriending Sour on Discord. Sour Kraus was another YouTuber that I befriended, but I met him through Nindroid's live streams, and he had me join the group, and I met Nindroid, and that was a whole thing. Going from no friends to a group of probably 10 to 12 in an audience of nearly 300, who also spread into larger groups, felt incredible. I can't even tell you how good of a feeling that was, considering I was a college dropout with no friends. That's right, I was, until I met Nindroid. To go from that to hanging out, and of course I'm reading the scripts. Of course I'm reading the script to you guys. To go from that to hanging out in a group every night was both terrifying and exciting for me. I straight up lived it. I straight up loved the entire group. And what was great was that as an introvert, I could log off whenever I needed to and come back when I wanted to hang out. I used to be much more of an introvert back then. I'm not so much anymore, and that's actually might be because of the group. I gained a little confidence because of the group. I'm not gonna lie. But why would I want to leave when I had online friends to talk to? So I was in that group 24/7, and I shared we shared a bond over common interests. Yeah, I liked anime. I liked Ninjago, Avatar, Marvel, DreamWorks Dragons, movies, TV shows, and it wasn't just me. They actually got me into a lot of stuff too that I normally wouldn't get into. Like my buddy Zach got me into scary movies. Austin got me into DC. I watched Breaking Bad and other TV shows because of Ninjoid. It was probably healthy for me to branch out of my just interests, which was really really good. Um, yeah, and Chainsaw Man. Like I normally wouldn't like I liked anime, but I wouldn't watch like scary bloody anime like that, like Chainsaw Man. But I ended up watching Chainsaw Man because of Sour. Oh, Steven's here.
Hey, man. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Want to make sure that I'm actually talking.
No, I can hear you, dude.
Okay, good. So then I saw um the sequel.
I've been like sitting here for like 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just going through like
Yeah.
my entire lists of stuff here. So I'm gonna go through a little bit of it, and I'm gonna give you all the time you need to speak. But then I saw the sequel trilogy, which was a mess. I hated it. So seeing someone with guts to do something, even if it wasn't on the big screen, filled with talent and creativity, you know what? I skipped a paragraph. And throughout all of this, the reason I became such a big fan of Nindroid and a friend of Nindroid was the Nindroid 243 project that he was making. He
Yeah.
called the Nindroid Cut.
Also, Dylan, why is there 3 people in the studio chat?
Anyway, go on.
I said, why is there 3 people in the studio chat?
Because it's you, me, and me. Because I don't have my camera with me on my computer, so
Oh.
I'm phone. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, also, okay, so he's not here, though.
No, Seth's not here, but I'm probably gonna leave this up for like a week. If not, I might just leave this up. Period.
Don't
You know?
delete it, dude. Don't do what he does.
Yeah, I might just leave this up. Period. Like,
Dylan, the man can
what?
lie about you the moment you take a stream down, and when you take something down, you take the evidence with you, bro.
Yeah, man, I might just leave this video up because obviously that's why he took his down. You know. Anyway, yeah, going through this, he was making an Android cut. I had my own fanfics and silly stories growing up, but I never did anything with them, thinking, everything had to be perfect. Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, Iron Man, Harry Potter, it's all perfect, right? Obviously, it didn't need to be, but I was a child back then. And then I saw the sequel trilogy, which was a mess. I do not like what Disney did with the Star Wars sequel trilogy. So seeing Nindroid, someone with guts, try to do something despite it not being perfect, despite it being on the small screen, he just wanted to do it because he wanted to make the fans happy. He generally wanted to make the fans originally happy. Seeing somebody like that, it gave us options. So when he asked me to be a part of this, someone who I honestly considered myself a talentless loser at that point because my YouTube channel wasn't getting any subs and I wasn't doing anything right. Um, so the fact that he wanted me to be a consultant and test audience for him and give him feedback on the project, I felt truly honored. I felt truly honored by that. I know it sounds stupid, but I'm being completely honest there. This was how I used to think back then. Dude, can
But
you?
by the way, guys, he didn't just like type this out in like 2 seconds. He wrote this like last night, put a lot of thought into it, and even sent it to me to review it. So, I mean, he's expressing his genuine thoughts. He's not full of shit.
Yeah, no, no, literally, dude, I'm not even kidding. The script took me an hour to write.
And it's not a script. It's literally just his like what he has to say. Like when you say script, it sounds like a lie, but
Yeah, it sounds
he genuinely was trying to just think of everything that's happened.
yeah, just generally everything that happens. Like I shouldn't even call this a script. I should honestly I just wanted to make sure that I got everything right and I didn't forget anything. Because to be honest with you, man, in that live stream he did was it last night or the night before? I forget.
I don't remember. Dylan, my family's still here, so I'll tell you what. Go through the rest of your speech. Text me when it's done, and I'll join and say my piece.
All
Okay?
right, dude. It's not gonna be very long. I'm gonna kind of fast forward to this as
Yeah,
fast.
just text me, all right? And
Yep,
yeah, guys, I'll be back. And trust me,
totally.
Dylan knows I have a lot to say. A
Yeah,
lot.
he says as much as I have to say. You know, I just want to get this thing through.
Yes. All
Yeah.
right. I will be back. Thank you.
Okay. Be back. Okay. Then I saw, yeah, his fan project was my stepping stone into the well, no, not necessarily. I was really big into Star Wars, but like I didn't really talk to the Star Wars audience. So that's what I mean when I say it was my stepping stone into the fandom. I was a big fan of Star Wars, but I never talked to anyone who was Star Wars. Like I maybe had one friend when I was like little, but that was about it. And he wasn't doing it for fame or to get rich. He just wanted something to enjoy for all of us. I know it sounds stupid, but that's honestly my opinion. Fast forward a bit, and he was dealing with personal issues. He talked a little bit about his girlfriend. Again, it's not my business, so I won't go into detail about that. I'm not going to spread out his entire thing. But during that time, I saw the group start to split apart, and I didn't like it. It was honestly the only group of friends I had at the time. So I tried to step up and keep it together. I even called myself the cop of the group. While Seth was dealing with his personal situations, I took the reins and tried to. Can I? Don't know why that popped up. There we go. I literally called myself the cop of the group. While Seth was dealing with his personal situations, I took the reins and tried to control the infighting within the group for a while. And I did a pretty good job. I did a pretty good job at making sure everyone stopped fighting for a little bit, you know? But I wasn't the glue of the group. That was Seth. It doesn't matter how much I tried to hold it together. If the glue was falling apart, it wasn't gonna stay. And yeah, by the end, that's exactly what happened. And honestly, I think he was right to start fresh, to forget about us and make a new channel. I think he needed to do that, but I really wish that he stopped saying that he needed us. Like he kept saying he needed us to be a part of this group, to be a part of his new live channel, or else he wouldn't get big. No, honestly, he needed to put in the work and do it himself and leave us in the dust. That's what should happen. But what he should never have done is he should never have deleted his channel. I should have stopped talking to him when he deleted his channel because even if he was starting a new one, it was a mistake to erase what came before. That's why I refuse to delete my YouTube channel now. Despite no longer working on this YouTube channel because it serves as a capsule, a time capsule of a different time in my life when I was going through stuff like that, and I don't want to forget that. I don't want to delete that like he did. So the story can be broken into chapters. Chapter 1, how I got into the group. Chapter 2, how the group began to self-sabotage. Chapter 3, the beginning of the end, when Seth deleted his original channel. Chapter 4, how I began to change as a person. And Chapter 5, the last embers, before the entire channel flickered out. before our friendship kind of fell apart. During Nendroid's tough patch, I don't know why it says right patch. I wrote tough patch, but during Nendroid's tough patch, the group, despite having a handful of members, really only contained three at that point. There were only three members that were literally part of the group, part of the what I call the main group. Others joined, but only Steven and I stuck around. Steven and I used to give Seth advice, trying to encourage him to get back on track. But honestly, I was just sitting around, and I wasn't taking my own. I wasn't taking my own advice. Steven kind of wasn't either. It was more so me. But both me and Steven realized that we were giving such good advice and not really doing anything with our own advice. You know, we were giving Seth all the advice, but not taking our words, especially me. Me more so than Steven. But I think Steven can also talk about that himself and did that. And when I realized that, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take some time off YouTube, step away from Star Wars, and explore something positive. It's funny because Nindroid says I was way too negative about Star Wars. He's not wrong, but I was also looking forward to other things, trying to brighten my day. I was getting into other things. I stopped being a Star Wars fan. I became a fan of something else. Meanwhile, he kept talking about Star Wars, Marvel, and all the same things and why. And he says, "Oh, I want to be this. I want to be positive." And he's right. He does want to be positive, but he keeps talking about it negatively. And we both wanted to get out of the negative spiral, but we wanted to do it in different ways. And we disagreed on how to do it. He wanted to be positive about Star Wars and still be a friend, and I wanted to put it behind me and move on. We were both negative and toxic, and hanging around each other wasn't helping. That's the biggest thing. Um, we weren't helping each other by talking negative about all this stuff. Like, it just wasn't helping. So Stephen realized that too, despite all the advice Stephen and I was giving him, it wasn't working. I was more on ice than I think even Stephen. I think I was more on ice, and as time, I honestly figured that it was time to maybe take a break, and so I blocked him, hoping we both needed a break, time to figure things out and grow, because I needed to do stuff. I needed to do different things. He needed to do different things. We needed to grow. But unfortunately, unlike me, he didn't do anything. But by the end of 2024, I thought it was over. But 2 months later, things actually got worse. You know, we had we had kind of our little break and we became friends again, but at that time I had something good going on and he really didn't. I was too negative. I was too negative about Star Wars. I was. I'm not going to deny that. He blocked me for being negative. And honestly, I was a little angry, a little upset about it, but I also felt really relieved that it wasn't me that closed the door at this time. You know, it was his choice to close that door. It was his choice to block me. And I thought, you know what? That's it. We're done. Because obviously, if I'm thinking he's the only negative and everything, we both need to get out of this and become positive. So, yeah, yeah, that was the whole situation there. By the end of 2024, I thought it was over, but 2 months later, things got worse. Steven, someone I hadn't had much content with lately because I was focusing on my new channel, my new positive channel, something that really encouraged me. Um, Steven contacted me with the news that Seth told him I sent an email talking trash about him and a couple other guys. At the same time, my cat, my own cat, Tigger, was slowly getting sick and passing away. And I had to put him down that very day. I asked Steven for. I Why does it say I asked Steven? I asked Nindroid. I asked Seth for proof that I sent him this terrible email, which I did not do. And he came back and said he didn't have proof. He had no proof. So what did I do? Well, after my rage and clearing my head, putting down my cat, unfortunately, I went back to Steven and I literally sent him a proof that it wasn't me, that I never did that. Seth lied 3 times. The first 2 times were small white lies, easily forgivable, and I never held them against him. The third time he lied about me. The third time he lied about me. And this, my mouse is going out. My mouse is going out, but I'm just gonna have to do this, guys. I'm just gonna have to do this so that I can read it because my mouse is going out. Anyway, where was I? I forgive him for that, and I've moved on. But you can't just turn back. I can't just turn back. You know, it would be a mistake if I did because we'd end up exactly where we started. Neither of us moving forward. At least I've moved on. He still seems stuck. He still seems stuck. Going back a bit, those last 3 months before the end, I realized that watching Star Wars with him again, I saw flaws. Star Wars is not perfect. Star Wars is not perfect. And boy, there we go. I began exploring other interests, making my own stories and silly videos. At first, I wasn't serious, thinking I wasn't good enough, but thanks to Nindroid, I realized I was. I actually did have talent, I just wasn't applying it in the way I needed to. And honestly, Nindroid taught me how to hold the brush. I am the artist, I can paint, but I didn't know how to hold the brush. So he taught me that. He had so many fantastic ideas, but did nothing with them. While I didn't start a Star Wars channel, I started a channel of my own thing. I took his ideas and applied them to something that I love. Because of that, I built a successful YouTube channel with nearly 700 subscribers and growing. And I wanted to be clear, it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. Yes, I'm the artist behind that channel. I put in the time, the effort, and everything I needed to. But honestly, the ideas came from Nindroid, and I'm very thankful to him for that, because if it wasn't for Nindroid, if it wasn't for Seth, I would not have the channel that I have now and the growing channel that I have. So why was I so hateful towards Star Wars? Well, he says it's because of the Sabine Wren thing, because Sabine Wren now has force powers, and it sounds stupid, right? That I stopped being a fan because of Sabine Wren. Well, no, that's not why I stopped being a fan of Sabine Wren. Sabine Wren was a feather, but the problem was we had Bad Batch, we had the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, we had a whole list of things, and it was accumulating. It was like one big pebble after another on my back that it only took one little feather to send me over the edge. Honestly, I was just delaying the inevitable. It was going to end up happening that I stopped being a Star Wars fan at some point because of how bad Disney was tearing it apart. And eventually Disney ended up collapsing the entire mountain. I'm glad I got out when I did, because after that the Acolyte showed up. And honestly, I'm surprised that I stayed in that long, honestly. Instead, I found something positive to focus on, a subject of my own thing. Yeah. Instead, I found something positive to focus on, a subject of my own thing, and I promised myself that that's the thing. On that channel, I don't talk about anything negative anymore. I just talk about the subject and what I love about the subject, and I barely ever talk about anything that I don't like about the subject because I don't want that channel falling into the same trap that my old channel did, that this channel did. Boy. And no, I'm not going to tell you what that channel is. I'm doing now because honestly, I don't want this stuff getting mixed up with that stuff. I have a very growing 700 plus subscriber channel, and it's fantastic, and I want to keep going. I don't want to mix up anything I'm doing. I want to keep that separate. This channel was a mess for many reasons, one of which was too much focus on negativity. I was way too negative on this channel. I moved on, unlike Seth. The day he lied about me was the end of our friendship. That was it. And in my rage, I said, go live a good life. I said, go live a good life. Now, with a cooler head, I stand by those words. Seth, I'm speaking to you directly to you. I wish you nothing but the best, brother. I wish you nothing but the absolute best, bro. Okay? I go live a good life. I honestly mean that. I just moved on, and I think it's time you did too. You gave me 150 subs. Well, guess what? I'm giving them back to you. Guys, link in the description below. Follow Ninjroid243. Link to his channel, to his new channel, and whatever he's doing in the description below. This is the last time I'm ever going to address this issue. This will probably be the last video I make on this channel for a while, unless I'm hanging out with Steven, or something. I have a new channel. I pretty much have a new life. And I'm doing well. I have over 700 subscribers. I started, taking care of myself, started getting into shape. I've grown up. I've changed. I've moved on. That's the whole real thing about this. We would still be friends if he never lied about me, but it's in the past. I've just grown up. I've just moved on. Alright, let me, comments. Wow, we got some comments here. I'm done. Okay, I'm just texting Steven to come back on. Well, hello, Jackslaw. Wow, you blocked, Seven or Seth? Steven or Seth? I blocked Seth. Well, Seth might think he is just cool for you now, like you all seem to do with me. I don't know what you're talking about. You were never as big a fan of Star Wars as they were. Maybe. But that is for the best. All are like they're in a cult, the cult of Star Wars, and it all has to be the best when it's not. Good. It's the right move. If you just in the cult, I will never get better till you stop watching. Yeah. Want to make some... That would be cool. Here is what we're going to do. Until we show there is so many response like... Oh, that's cool, man, but I got my own thing going on. I got a totally different channel. 700 subscribers, and growing. Like, I have almost 700 subscribers, and it's growing. It's doing fantastic. It's kind of my own thing. It's really good. Okay. I'm going to @Steven real quick. so he knows to come back on. But yeah, that is everything I have to say. I can't believe I wrote that entire page. Like I wrote like a 5-page essay on this whole situation. But like I had a lot more to say. Are you still cool with me even without Seth? Yeah, yeah. What content are you pushing now? Then what is it? I'm not gonna say what it is because I just don't want anything mixed up in that.
Hello,
Steven's back.
my boy. All right. So, what did you tell them that I won't have to tell them?
I basically just went through my entire script, and you read the script, man. You know what I said.
Okay. All right. So, I'm sure Dylan's probably covered a couple things. If I repeat some, well, that's how you know it's true because everyone's seen the same stuff.
Yep.
So, Seth and I became friends a while back for the same reason, Dylan became friends with him. We had a similar interest in Star Wars, and we were like, okay. There's another reason Dylan and I became friends with Seth, but I will cover that later on. It's something I think we realized kind of last night. We're still realizing stuff, but I became friends. I was on his podcast for a while. For a while, Seth wasn't a bad friend, I have to say. He was a very cool guy at first. I definitely found him a very, he's an interesting person, so to speak, but like in a good way at the time. I didn't really see the red flags. Everything was fine, and then I think the trouble started when I started dating Lizzie, and I think Dylan, does that sound right, Dylan? I think that sounds
Yeah,
right.
that sounds about right.
The first thing he did, and
Hey,
you know,
dude, I'm gonna switch over my headphones,
yeah, go ahead.
so I'll be back. Just keep the stream going.
Sure. So, Dylan was here for this, but Seth started to show signs of being a little controlling. He wanted people to always be on a stream when he specifically wanted it. Um, you didn't. We had to do things in his schedule, or he would get generally pissed, and that's a red flag because no friend should control or dictate when you do something. Um, at the time, I didn't realize what it is, but it's the problem with wanting to control every situation, and you want everything to be a certain way, and that's while at the time it was really easy for me to adapt to his schedule. I'll get more into why it became a problem later on. Then the first real problem had. So at the time, I was dating someone called Lizzie Minchoff, and she was a dangerous person. Yes, I'll admit it. She's not a great person. But the one thing you always do in any situation or relationship is you need to know like your grounds. Now, all my homies and I know have something called guy code. When it comes to a toxic relationship, you can warn your homie about the relationship and give him a fair warning. But if he chooses to make his own decision and go through with it, it's your place as a friend to step aside and let your friend have that. Every single friend I know lives by that standards, except for one of my friends back in the day. One day when I'm at school, I find out that Seth tried to destroy my relationship by contacting someone and trying to end it right then and there. And while the relationship was really bad and the scenario was toxic, he had no right. I know no matter in some ways he was not necessarily wrong, but the way he handled it was absolutely horrible. All right, he shouldn't have stepped in like that. He should have warned me, which he did, and stopped it at there. But instead, he tried to destroy my relationship. And you never fuck with with your best friend's girlfriend. Girlfriend. Never try to end the relationship between someone. All right, because that just makes you a bad person. All right, and he tried to justify it in every way because the problem with Seth is he has zero accountability, and he will he'll act like he does, when he wants to win you over. And that's another problem we'll get into in a minute. Um, we're gonna get into a couple other things now. Also Dylan will be back. My next main problem, after some time I
Hello,
forgave.
can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good.
But yeah, so like I said, guys, and Dylan, I wanted to ask you the same thing. Now that you're here, when it comes to a guy's like when he's got a bad girlfriend, right, and she's toxic, how far do you think you should go before you say maybe I'm going too far and trying to help? What's the limit you should go to when it comes to that?
Okay, honestly, if he asks about it, I mean, he's your best friend, so you should definitely kind of tell him the truth and what you think. But that's where it should end. You shouldn't like straight up try to break them up like he did.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Even Dylan knows what it's called. There's a real term for this, Dylan. It's called guy code.
Yeah.
When it comes to your
And
boys,
I kept my distance from
You
him. Like,
look out.
I didn't even like your girlfriend, and I told you that.
but Dylan handled it like a friend should handle it. He didn't go any farther than how you said he would go because Dylan also wanted to give me the chance to explore it. Seth, he wanted to control what happened, so he tried to break us up immediately, and it was a terrible situation. And if anything, it made him look like a bad person. Now, another thing is, while being friends with Seth, Dylan, you know who I'm talking about, by the way. Night Whisperer, I think it was. A lot of people were warning me to stay away from him.
My buddy Zach,
about who
aka
he
Night
was.
Whisperer, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people were warning me about Seth as a person and saying he wasn't who he was making himself out to be and he could be very manipulative. I believed them to an extent at the time, but at the same time, I was a lonely person. So naturally, I let myself get roped in. Because it's really hard to really identify a narcissist when, they're really good at making it seem like it's your fault for the stuff they do. And if anyone had a real knack for that, it was Seth.
And I know it sounds like we're talking like really tough on him, and granted, we are, but I want to make this clear that this is all water under the bridge. Like, we're done.
We don't care about him. We're not going to beef with him or anything.
We're done. We're just only saying this because
the reason we're saying it, we're being tough on him, is because he's done so many things to deserve such words to be said about him.
And he did a live stream talking about this stuff last night. Don't know if you caught that,
twisted all the facts.
but he did.
Twisted all the facts. He twisted all the facts. And I know what he's going to say. He's going to watch this and go, or how does he scoff again? I don't care. But the point is, whenever he doesn't get his way or something happens, he doesn't like. He goes, how dare you talk? What are you talking about? I don't know. Something stupid. I don't think that's how he would talk. But the point is, he's gonna do that really annoying scoff. And then he's gonna be like, I don't do that. They're lying. Because the problem with that is he only has accountability when he wants to win someone over. But in reality, he doesn't even believe his accountability. It's quite literally just and you should always take a girlfriend over friends. That's where I disagree with you. Taking a girl over friends is not the truth. The problem is that, when it comes to homies, you always got to have your best friend's back, yes. But the way to have your friend grow as a person, sometimes you have to let your friends get hurt. And I know while that sounds crazy,
it's true. You can't hold their hand 24/7.
Exactly. And not to mention, you can really hurt that person if you try to break him up. That's wrong to do on a number of levels. Go behind their back to do this. It's severely wrong, fucked up, and it doesn't make any sense. But he did it. And I still think in ways he has no remorse for it. Okay, but anyhow, let's move on to our other problems.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Seth has continued to lie to my face repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
Seth has demonstrated he is a hereditary liar. While I was living with him, he lied many times. And even if there were small things sometimes, the fact that he kept going and he kept saying he wouldn't do it anymore. Yeah. And I know he's going to say, it's because I'm really sad or because I'm really lonely. So let's talk about mindsets, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
So there's a reason Dylan and I became friends with Seth, and Dylan and I actually had this conversation last night. We're willing to admit this. Dylan and I became friends with Seth because of our mindsets. Because we had
were both
really
pretty much
bad
like him,
mindsets.
especially me.
We had horrible mindsets. We didn't know what we were doing with our lives. We were pissy. We hated everybody.
Yep.
So we became friends with someone exactly like us. Someone who always blames everyone else for their problems. Someone who never, we just weren't good people. And unfortunately, we met someone exactly like that who has a bajillion problems. And because of that, we thought it was the most normal thing we've ever seen and took him in. Because he seemed to
what's
understand.
funny is we found that out, and we literally looked. It's like looking at ourselves in the mirror and realizing, God, we're terrible people.
Why am I like
All we
this?
gotta do is choose to be better.
Yes, but my problem is I didn't realize that till I moved in with him. Anyhow, so Seth continued to prove to me that he's a liar. But eventually he'd always find a way to manipulate me into coming back. He'd always act so sorry or something. I would be.
No, he would do that to me too. He would do the exact same thing to me.
And here's the thing: no matter what the scenario, he'd always assume he could win you back over. You want to know how we know? Because he thought he tried to win Dylan back over while I was living with him.
Mm-hmm.
He thought it would work. He thought if he just waited it out a few months, even after saying,
here's the funny thing, though, dude.
You know what's funny?
He
kept saying, I'm done with Dylan. I don't want to be friends with him ever again. 2 months later, I miss Dylan. I'm so lonely.
Here's the funny thing, though, dude. If he never, because lying to me is one thing, right? Lying to you is one thing. I could have forgiven for him that. We would have been friends. But the third time, it wasn't lying to me. He lied about me. I just can't turn around and go back.
We found out about that, actually. It was actually one of his IRL friends that sent that email to him. Really? But it doesn't matter because he immediately pointed fingers at you before anyone.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He didn't even find out. He just immediately assumed it was you.
Now, is that another lie of his? Because honestly, I almost believe that could be another lie of his. To give him the like.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I don't
like
know
him again.
That's the thing. I don't know if this said person sent that email because nothing Seth says is possibly real. He's not schizophrenic like
exactly.
But he definitely has
during all of this, like I didn't even talk to Steven for a couple months because I was focusing on my new channel, being positive.
Now, I want to talk about
it was the day where I finally got in contact with Steven again that all this happened.
Yeah. I want to talk about what it was like living with him, though. And I want to explain
Go ahead, man.
That he said. So,
this is all your corner. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I moved in with the guy after, I think, fighting with him like 4 times. And Dylan was there for every single one. We kept warning each other to not go back to him, and then we ended up doing the same, making the same mistake. He's so good at manipulating people into talking to him again. It's scary. It's how you know he's a narcissist. He can really act sorry when he wants to seem like he's sorry, when he has no remorse. But let's talk about a couple things. So a couple things happened before I even moved in. One thing is this was caught on camera by the neighbors, by the way. Seth apparently has more than just psychological problems. It's to another level that we didn't realize until much later. There were multiple videos. One of them was of Seth hitting Rocco, his Labrador, because Rocco was barking at another dog. The neighbor was standing right outside watching him, and she was saying to stop. And when he wouldn't stop, he hit Rocco. And the neighbor said, "You don't need to do that." He said, "Well, he shouldn't be barking." My only response is, he's a dog, Seth. You can't train him by hitting him. That's animal abuse, and I don't know where you think that's appropriate.
Now, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, man, and I shouldn't do this, right? But this is how I am. I really want to make the excuse because I deal with big dogs. sometimes you gotta be a little rough to get him to listen. I know that because I have worked with big dogs. At the same
Yeah, but
time,
you
I
don't
didn't see
understand.
the
You don't
video.
understand. But that's the thing about Seth is he was abusive.
Yeah, I didn't
towards
see the
animal.
video, so if he was that abusive to the dog,
He hit him with a closed fist, according.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I guess that's my problem because I want to give him the benefit.
I know, but I know it's hard, because you never saw the video, but I've seen the video. He hit the dog with a closed fist. And I know he's gonna go on a live and be like, "Oh, that's straight up a lie." Don't worry, it's on video, so he can't say anything.
I know, but
Yeah.
Can you guys stop,
no,
please? This is very important.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Another thing that he had done was when he was trying to push the couch into the house, the one that wouldn't fit, he cussed out and shoved his mother, who has schizophrenia and other mental problems. The neighbors watched the whole thing. He was cussing out, shoving his mother, putting his hands on her, according to them. He didn't beat her necessarily, but he did he put his hands on her a few times. He was yelling at his brother, yelling at his mother, which, I don't know in what reality disrespecting your parents is acceptable, but, I guess in his eyes, everything is acceptable. And, I know why he's the way he is. It's because of the environment he was raised. Kids tend to recreate what their parents are like, and Seth definitely recreates what his grandmother and mother is like in a lot of ways. His mother, actually, no, I take that back. His mother's a very nice person.
Yeah.
Seth is more like his grandmother, rude and dirty. Except Seth doesn't have a hard time walking. He can walk. Anyhow, so once I got there, the neighbor said this to me. They said, with the moment they saw me, they wanted to know what he was paying me to live with him. And I asked, "What do you mean?" And they said, "There's no way anyone would want to live with this guy." And at the time, I was like, I don't understand why you would say that, but okay. And, after some time, I realized why people were afraid of him. First off, it was, besides his physical encounters that they caught on camera, he was very loud, very rude. He was very mean to everybody when, something went mildly wrong for him. For example, one time Rocco the dog was wandering around the house. He brushed against the figurines on the shelf, so Seth smacked the dog really hard. And like Dylan said, it's okay to discipline them, but hitting a 1-year-old dog because he brushed against your fucking action figures.
Yeah, that's too far.
That should be a crime. But of course it's fine in his eyes. The only time I spanked Rocco or AJ was when they shit on the rug.
Yeah.
And they have to remember. And it wasn't a hard slap.
No.
But when Seth found out, he would chase him with anger, aggression, say, "You better run." His animals were genuinely fearful of him. And the reason AJ and Rocco started liking me more than Seth was because I didn't treat them like that. Yes, I spanked them out of discipline. And I did yell a couple times when they scratched me, but that's as far as I went. I never, and I would always pet them afterwards and say, "I'm sorry, but you really got to stop."
Yeah.
They often would stop.
I totally with you on that stuff, dude.
Because the thing is, when they actually did what they were supposed to and they went to the bathroom the right spot, I'd always reward the animals. Petting, being very, favorable of them. The other problem I had with Seth, and this was a very big problem, he is the dirtiest human being I know. The dirtiest person in the world that I'm aware of. It's the kind of stuff you watch on YouTube, and
he honestly looked worse than the last time I talked.
Oh yeah, can we talk? We'll talk about that. We saw him on stream yesterday. We couldn't believe how disgusting he looked. He looks horrible.
He really
looks
does.
Even worse. If you look at his physical features now, here's what I saw when I saw him. His teeth are stained yellow. Permanently yellow. The man doesn't brush his teeth ever. His teeth literally are permanently yellow.
I'm not going to lie. I need to get better at brushing my teeth. I'm not going to even lie.
Yeah, but Dylan, your teeth aren't yellow,
At
permanently
least they
yellow.
aren't. At least they aren't permanently yellow.
He
You're right.
smelled horrible all the time. You could pause. My audio's gonna go out, and this is important. No, my phone is dead. It's charging. Just stop for 10 minutes. It's not hard. Okay, if I didn't, I don't wish I didn't have to do this, but Seth thinks he can go on a live stream and just make up lies about everybody, or
Yeah.
not make up lies. Sorry, tell half.
He wasn't lying. He just wasn't telling everything.
He just told his side to make it look like he was the better person.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He told his side, and we're telling ours. That's all this is. We have no beef with this guy at all. It's all water under the bridge. We've moved on.
I mean, I will say
the
that
only reason why we're doing this live stream is because he did a live stream talking about us. So I decided to clear the air and give my side of the story. And of course, Steven wants to give his side of the story because he's the third coin in all of this too.
Yes. Anyhow, so let's talk more about what Seth loved to do to me. So, you know, besides, amongst other things, Seth was continuously controlling. And I know I touched base on this before, but now you guys, I will make it very clear just how controlling he is. Every day he got home from work, motherfucker would make me, first off, leave my door open. And at the time, he said it was because of the cat scratching the door. And I'm like, that is perfectly fine. That's not the reason he wanted the door open. He wanted the door open so he could go into my room every morning and wake me up when he wanted me up. Oh, yeah. It wasn't, you know, I had to do everything on his schedule.
Mm-hmm.
What was the excuse? And basically, so for like the first few months,
and he would constantly, even when before all of that happened, he would constantly contact at me, and you know the rest of the gang, whenever he was on his time. When a lot of us had our own lives, and a lot of us had to do our own.
That's what I was saying.
Like, I couldn't contact him.
Seth wanted us to do everything on his schedule.
Yeah.
So let me give a couple examples. The reason he wanted my door open, so he could come in my room while I'm trying to sleep and watch TV. And when he did it, I would say, dude, can you not? I'm trying to sleep. He'd go, his little fucking girl-like scoff.
Yeah.
How dare, what? But I want to watch TV.
He would do that
after work. And I would say, well, then take the TV upstairs, dude. You have arms. You don't, you know, he scoffed. He'd be like, oh, I worked all night. I'm like, great. But that doesn't give you the excuse to come into my room and wake me up because you want to watch TV.
Yep. Or like he would want to do a live stream and he texted me 2 minutes before he went live, and it's like, bro, I'm busy. What do you want?
Exactly. But also, there were more, when he wanted me up, he would come into my room while I was trying to sleep, jump on my bed like a 10-year-old child. And I swear to God, that pissed me off severely because he smelled horrible and he just walked right into my room and jumped on my bed. Didn't shower, didn't clean himself. Let me just say how dirty he is. He always smelled bad. His hands were permanently stained black. And while he said that was the side effect of everybody working there, I looked at a lot of the other workers' hands. Their hands were perfectly fine. Plus, I'm pretty sure at those kind of jobs, they make you wear gloves. So, I think it's the fact that Seth doesn't like washing his hands, and he does it. He doesn't brush his teeth. He showered every 3 days. And, you know...
Honestly, showering every 3 days, that's a normal thing. But honestly...
No, actually, it's better to shower
not
once
when
a day.
you have, like, all the stuff that he was doing.
Well, Dylan, it's actually not normal to shower every 3 days because that's not hygienic. It's better that you shower once a day, but that we're allowed to have different opinions. So
yeah.
But the point is, like, there's a difference between showering every 3 days and being like tolerable smell. But
yeah,
Seth was, like,
that's the thing.
intolerable.
He wasn't tolerable smell.
And sometimes
right?
it was more than 3 days. Sometimes he'd take him 7 days. And what was his excuse?
That's the thing.
Oh, I
should
work
do it
at
more
night.
than that.
I work at night. And that was his excuse for everything. And I would say, oh, well, Okay, you worked at night. That's called life. That's called being an adult. But you still have to
Yep.
take care of your house. Otherwise,
And
if you think it's
yourself.
so hard, you're not ready to own a house.
Yeah, and yourself.
Yes. And that's the other thing. He always asks why girls won't date him. I'll answer it, dude. You're a fucking mess.
Mm-hmm.
You are disgusting. When I look at you, all I see is grime and dirt caking your
Absolutely.
body. And and the smell coming off of you. And then he'd come into my room, take all his shit off in my room, leave his socks and dirty clothes all over my room, and watch TV on my bed whenever he felt like it. 6 in the morning while I'm trying to sleep, when I spent all night taking care of his pets and the house. Because, yeah, I was the one cleaning his house. Oh, yeah, thanks, Pa, for bringing that up. My grandpa saw the house. Let me give you context. So let's talk about Seth's room. Food in the closet, or not food, just bowls. Mold everywhere, growing on said plates and bowls. What does he do when he's done with stuff? Just throw it in the closet. Cat turds all over the floor from the time they shit in his room.
Right
Did he
about
clean it up?
that.
No, he put it in a paper towel and just left it on his floor. He took silverware and stuff there all the time and never brought it back down. And his room was like rancid. I had to clean that shit out. And that's when I started realizing it wasn't worth it. Because, yeah, I get it. You work a lot. But just because you work, you need to do
Dude,
the bare
Jack's Law,
minimum.
it's not about that. It's honestly about the fact that this guy had to move in with him. That's what it's really all about.
Anyhow, so his other problem, like I said, he was like disgusting. And when I saw his room, I said, "There's no
It
way a
wasn't
human
him.
being can."
Trust me, it wasn't. It wasn't Steven. Steven wasn't the controlling one. I wasn't the controlling one. It was him.
We didn't control shit, dude. We wanted to do everything. He wanted to do everything on his schedule, and I just didn't want to do stuff all the time that he wanted to do. Sometimes I wanted to do my own thing. For instance, and I've got a lot of friends who can back this up. I was playing a game with my friend. Mofo comes home and says, "Get off your game. We're gonna work on stuff, or we're gonna work
I
on the
mean,
Star Wars, or we're
it's the
gonna."
exact same thing with like the Star Wars and me
Yeah.
wanting to do my own thing, right?
He'd be like vividly telling me to stop doing what I was doing, and in my head, I'm like, "No, dude, I'm doing my own thing. I'm allowed to have my own time. Just because I live with you doesn't mean I have to do everything on your schedule."
Yep.
But
And like I said, like I would help him with stuff like that. I told him I was gonna help him with this comic book, but like I'm also drawing my stuff.
and here's the thing, Dylan. And I always say this: just because you're at the moment paying the rent and I'm unemployed for stupid reasons because your company doesn't keeps making excuses for stupid shit. But just because of that, that doesn't give you the right. He always said the same thing. It's my house. Okay, but that doesn't give you the invite to invade my privacy by coming in my room all the time.
Yep.
And not giving me any space. If you don't like the fact that the TV's in my room, then take it out of my room. That is not my problem. I enjoy my privacy. And when his cat was fucking dying, I started closing my door. But the fucking dude yelled at me to leave it open. Why? Because it was never about the cat. It was about the fact that he wanted free access to my fucking room whenever he wanted to come in. Now, you guys are probably wondering why I walked out with 6 of his action figures. Let me tell you why. This motherfucker was wearing my clothes. First off, my socks, my underwear, and when he brought them home, they were as stiff as fucking cardboard.
Not only that, but he stole. He took some of Steve. Even
He has a couple of my figures. Yes, he has a couple Mandalorian.
Yep, and hit them.
I couldn't find them. I looked everywhere for them, and it was wearing my clothes. And it's just like, dude, I don't care if you're out of clothing. That's your fault. This is my stuff. Dumping his clothing in my room all the time. And always just touching my stuff as if it was just his to fuck around with. It's like he never asked. He just did everything on his own accord.
It's all
dumping.
shit. That's what it was. It's all shit, dude.
So when I was like dealing with him constantly wearing my clothes, my socks, my fucking underwear, I said, all right, then I'm gonna fucking take some of this as repercussion for you essentially making some of my clothes unwearable. I had to throw out some of my clothing because this motherfucker wore them. And I will never share clothing with that guy. He was disgusting.
It's a good share of money, dude. It's a good
Yeah.
share of money. That's what it was.
Yeah. I'm still gonna pay him back, chat, for the stuff that I owe him, for the stuff that he got from you while I was there. Don't worry. But those figurines are the stuff that I took as a way of saying, this is what you get for constantly violating my privacy and not understanding and taking my stuff. You cost me money. Clothes are more expensive than stupid figurines.
Mm-hmm. And the figurines are pretty expensive too. I mean, some of those are like 15, 20 bucks a piece.
And I understand, but if a dog brushes against them, it's not going to be damaged. And the thing is, if it fell off the shelf and it had a tiny crease on it, he would make me buy. He wanted me to buy him a whole new one. It had one tiny crease on it, and I said, and I with my mouth I said sure, but in my mind I said fuck you, dude. You can easily put that on the shelf. You can't even see it unless you look. I get that you're OCD about it, but dude, you don't get the demand that I pay you for a fucking figurine just because the box has a tiny dent.
Didn't he give you like a figurine or something like that?
He did a couple.
And yet he claims that those figurines were his when he gave them to you. If you give a present,
if you give something to someone, idiot, that means it belongs to them. That's the definition of giving something to someone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh my God, this guy.
Yeah.
So there was the controlling problem. There was also the physical problems. He was physically abusive sometimes. He would hit me in the arm or in the gut, but he didn't punch me lightly. And he kept saying it was just a friendly way of messing with me. No, this motherfucker hit hard when he was angry. He hit me in the arm and the leg. And you know what? I laughed it off every time. But internally, I was ready to kick his ass, knock him out in 2 seconds.
Yep.
But I thought, stop interrupting me, Pa. I told you the one time.
You be quiet. Open the door.
Pa, I'm trying to clear up allegations. You can't do this to me.
Quiet, so you come in here.
Me and my family get along great.
Yeah, actually, they love each other.
And
they hang
Dylan
out all
knows
the
this.
time.
When my family has zero respect for what I'm trying to do, when Seth, when someone does something very serious, they have no respect for it because my grandparents don't understand the importance of the situation. So it causes me to yell.
They just don't. It's all right.
They're older. I digress. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to yell at them to make them kind of clear, like, you guys need to stop.
Yeah.
But anyhow, regarding the physical stuff, this man hit hard. And I wanted to beat him up every time. But you know what? I decided I was a better person than that. I decided to not lay a hand on him because I knew I could drop him in 2 seconds. But using my power for bad is the wrong thing. Hurting
it's
when
true.
I know that could be prevented is the wrong thing.
Granted, you should have at least protected yourself. That's the only thing I would say.
When I was with Seth, he continued to tell me lies that he told me that weren't actually true. He continued to admit to stuff that he told me in the past that wasn't true. And even then I was just like, dude, oh my God, you're still a liar. You're a hereditary liar. That's what I took away from that. He's a hereditary liar. So he's a hereditary liar. He's extremely fuck, I can't think of the word. What's the word for someone who doesn't take care of themselves is dirty? Unhygienic. Sorry, not hygienic.
Yeah, unhygienic. Yeah.
He's also a narcissist. He thinks no matter what he does, it's not wrong. He has no repercussions for his actions. He's a very controlling person. He always was demanding me I did whatever he wanted when it happened. And his always excuse is, I own the house. I'm paying for it. Okay, but you don't have any respect for my space.
And that's the thing. I mean, I saw some of that, but Stephen here got 24/7 of that. I got maybe like an hour a day.
The dude
He's
also
not
locked me in
24/7.
at one point. And while he was for a stupid situation, the neighbors could even hear him laughing like a psycho, and they thought it was. And even I was like disturbed. I was like, dude, you can't do this to me. You can't just lock me in a fucking basement because I don't want to tell a girl I like her. And they always heard how loud he yelled or how psychotic he could act, and they found it very disturbing. All of our neighbors were scared of Seth. The neighbors have a group chat about Seth because of just how what kind of a person he is. So, and then, living with Seth just never got better. He just demonstrated more and more of how much of a shitty person he was. Now, I could talk about it for hours. I could. Dylan knows this.
Yep.
But I'm not going to because I don't want to completely taint his relationship. I mean, not his relationship, his reputation.
Even though we
online.
pretty much have in this video, but here's the thing, right? At the
If you
end
guys
of
want to
the
find out
day-
more, if you want to know everything, DM me on Discord. I'm Vision YT. I will sit there and speak for hours of everything he has done.
Yeah.
To fucking root.
And I really could too. I could go into a lot more depth. Like I said though, like I am thankful that we were friends at one point. I really am. He helped me.
Oh wait, that's right,
lot.
Dylan. I never told him how he was mentally abusive.
Go ahead.
He would always convince me everything was my fault. Whenever he wanted to do something and I didn't want to. I just want to do it, but what? I just want to do this, but whatever. I just want to do that, but whatever. No, it's fine. It's fine. And then there was a thing where he wanted me to always ask him what was wrong. He acted like he didn't want to because he'd come home in a really bad mood. He'd sigh as loud as possible near me.
Yeah.
So I asked him, what's wrong? Nothing, Steven. Dude, if you're going to make it this obvious, you clearly want me to
You know what? It's
shut up
scary
and tell
how
me-
close that sounded to him. I'm not even kidding. You have a great impression of him.
Because I fucking lived with this motherfucker. And I kept asking him what's wrong. And he'd go, nothing, buddy. So eventually I said, stop this bullshit, dude. You clearly want me to ask. So just say it. Stop doing this. Because every time he'd end up telling me, it was something stupid that had happened the night before. It was nothing serious.
Yeah.
So, if you want attention, Seth, start talking next time. Don't just try to get my attention. I'm already, I'm, oh my God. This motherfucker doesn't have to fight for attention. I would have given it to him, but the reason I stopped giving him attention after a while was because I was done. And also it was for the same reason I stopped cleaning the house. I was done. This motherfucker kept leaving it a bigger mess every time I cleaned it. And I do all the work cleaning up the house. And, let's be real. If I was his house would have looked like complete shit. A lot of the stuff that got done was because I had suggestions that I kept giving him.
Yeah.
And it was just, oh, man.
The thing of Jack's Law, I was really into Star Wars. I was pretty much part of the Star Wars cult that you want to call it, if you want to call it that. I guess it pretty much was. I used to really love Star Wars.
We all loved Star Wars.
We all love Star Wars. And
I love Star Wars
turned
too.
bad.
But the thing is, I just got annoyed by how much Seth wanted to talk about it down in fucking Pennsylvania.
It could have been a little bit of that for me, but honestly, it was just because it's just so negative. There were so many pebbles on my back, and pretty soon that little feather fell on me. I was just done with Star Wars. But the thing is, the difference is, I wanted to walk away from Star Wars. Seth didn't want to walk away from Star Wars. That's all he wanted to talk about was Star Wars, Marvel, DC.
Well,
whatever.
That's the thing. Yes,
That's
the thing he always talked about when we were with him. We couldn't talk about anything I ever wanted to talk about, and sometimes I really did want to have a conversation about stuff. Talking with Seth was impossible. He'd give like very short responses and then change the subject. To always
and he
be
used
about
to do that with me too, talking in private as well. I want to say about 90% of our conversation was him telling me stuff, and about the rest of it was me telling him stuff.
90%. Let's talk about another problem we have with him real quick. He'd always complain about how bad his life was all the time. But the problem is he never did anything to make it better. He'd complain, "Oh, I'm so lonely. Oh,
Okay, I'll give you
secretly,
that, Jack Slaw. You're right there.
I'm secretly so depressed. Blah blah blah. I'm so sad. I
Like,
hate it."
it's not a secret when you tell everybody.
Yeah, but yeah, first off, it's not a secret. We all know. We can read your body language. First off, you're
Yeah.
obvious. Secondly, if you have a problem with how you are, first off, you wonder why you're lonely and why you can't get a woman. Look at yourself. You're dirty. You're gross. You're unwell.
That's the
Motherfucker,
thing. We
no
tried to give
repercussions for
him,
his actions.
and
He
we
also
gave
is,
him all this advice. We tried to get
the
him
reason
back
I
on
know
his
he's a
feet, and he
narcissist is
wouldn't.
because I've lived with them for years. Living with Seth, I again won't get into the details too much because I will talk to anyone in DMs though on Discord.
Yeah.
Again, this is the internet. I don't want Seth's reputation to be tainted. However, judging by how he responds to this, I might just go live and expose every detail. So
If you want to do that on your own channel, man, feel free to.
Oh, I will, Dylan. I'll have you join that stream as
I will. I'll join that stream totally.
Because that's the thing. Me and Dylan are done with Seth, but we're done. but when it comes to Seth trying to make lies about us, we will respond.
We will.
And Mr. Janowski, you see this video, don't attempt to contact us. This is not an opening.
Yeah, nope.
This is the exact opposite.
Want contact with you, period.
We don't want to ever speak to you again. Now, if you guys are wondering how I got out of Seth's house.
Yeah, hold on. Honestly, other than Steven, if you want to do that live stream on your channel, I'll totally be there. But honestly, after this stream, like, I want to have nothing to do with this content.
Yeah.
Period. Like,
that's something I think Dylan and I both want to say to Seth that we said yesterday. Seth, leave our fucking names out of your mouth. Stop talking about us on your stupid fucking live streams. All right.
Stop deleting all your live streams, trying to
cover it up because we see you every time you go live because you pop up in our feed, and we rewind it to the parts where you're talking about us.
Yeah,
dude, you need to stop. You're not gonna get that whole thing where it's probably my fault. Seth, you don't have any remorse whatsoever. Yep. Don't go on stream and talk about how lonely you are. Talk about how you secretly do regret stuff and how you secretly are this way. You can't twist the facts to make people believe you anymore, dude. The more you twist the fucking reality, the more the reality becomes fucking vague and unclear and untrue. Yep. People will see through. Now, if you genuinely believe some of the stuff you say, you're schizo in some ways. You have serious problems. Yep. First off, if you
we want you to grow, man.
If you could justify hitting me for stupid reasons, dude, then
we want no part of this anymore.
Then you need to go to a hospital and get that checked because you should never have hit your fucking roommate. If you think that controlling someone and always having someone do something on your time is the right thing to do just because you're paying for the house means you obviously get to dictate whatever I do. You got problems, dude. You can't dictate what people do because you want things to go your way. And when you don't, you go, and then you try to guilt trip people into doing what you want to do. You were great at it.
I'm telling you, in a few weeks of working every response, you would have made fans mad at the game. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know, man. Let's worry about that later on, Dylan. I was in the middle thing.
That's the problem, right, Steven?
Oh no, but that's the problem. He smells like ass. He smells horrible. Seth is a very dirty person. And I spent a long time putting a smile on when I was living with Seth, trying to act like I was fine with everything he was doing. In reality, I was never okay with any of the stuff he did. He was very dirty, very unhygienic. And living with him, he always asked me why I wasn't motivated to do stuff with him after a while. It's because of who you were as a person. I just got so sick of you that I didn't feel like chipping in to help you when you couldn't even help yourself, dude. You think you do all these things. You think you can just act a certain way and everything's going to go the way you want it. You know, you're rude as fuck to everyone, to your family, to your friends. You know, even during a movie, Seth, when we went to watch Revenge of the Sith in theaters, Seth said to me, "If you talk during the movie, I'm gonna throw you out." I said okay, but in my head I said, "You're not fucking security, dude."
Mm-hmm.
And that when me and Sam, his friend, were trying to talk during a movie, he told us to shut up. The thing is, sometimes people, I know many people love to talk during movies, but quietly. You
Yeah.
don't control how people are, dude. If we want to have a conversation, you don't have any say in that, Seth. I don't care if you like things a certain way. You don't get to control us. It is not up to you. Okay? If you want to be petty and control people, then you're going to be lonely and without friends for the rest of your miserable life. And you will always be stuck. And the reason, I'll say it again, the reason Dylan and I became friends with this guy was
Because we were exactly
we were
the
like,
same, basically.
the reason we're not friends with him anymore is we moved on and became better
We
people.
grew up.
We grew up. Ladies and gentlemen, I just fixed my relationship with my father. Something I never thought was possible. Instead of
Yeah.
living in the past with all
And
this.
I have a channel that's almost has 700 subscribers. Granted, I got the ideas from him, and I'm thankful for that. He taught me how to hold the brush,
There
but
is
it
stuff
was
that
my effort,
I will say,
my work that did that, not his.
you know,
I'm the one who put in the effort. I'm the one with the talent. I'm the one who achieved that
yes,
and
when it
built
comes
that
to
myself.
talking about doing stuff, Seth says, but he never does. That's his problem.
Yeah, he
And ladies and
says it
gentlemen,
all the time.
Dylan and I have grown up and gone past Seth. We're done with Seth because he lives in
We
the past.
moved on.
He holds on to things. He doesn't know how to grow as a person. He acts like he's getting better. He's getting worse. He's exactly the same as he was when we met him. Granted, we're grateful for this fucking guy. And in some ways we really love the guy as a friend. But we will never speak to him again. Never again.
No.
Appreciate the times that were good,
No.
but we're done with Seth.
Yeah, we're
There's
done.
so many other things he did that I won't talk about on stream, as I genuinely don't want to hurt his reputation. But
Even though we pretty much have with this point. But I mean that's
it's 10 times. It's a lot worse. All right.
Yeah.
Let me just say that it's a lot worse. To summarize it, neighbors were scared of him. I became scared of him and his temper. I despised the way he could guilt trip, manipulate, and the reason he never believed he's a narcissist. The other reason I know he's a narcissist, he never has accountability, not real accountability. He always
and that's
blames
the
everyone
thing.
else for his problems.
We
And
both
he finds ways
want
to
him
justify
to
life.
grow.
We
We
want him
both
to grow,
want him.
but the problem with narcissists is they think they're completely fine.
Yeah.
Seth, in some ways, admits that his wrongdoings, but his problem is he admits them and then keeps doing them. So in reality, he's repeating what everyone else is telling him. He doesn't actually believe it because he's the same exact person as when we met him. He has too many problems. He's completely beyond health. He has psychotic problems.
And
He's
we want him
mentally
to grow
unstable.
out of it. We really do. I wish him nothing but the best.
What we want, and we said this yesterday, we want him to go to a psych ward for a few years
Pretty much.
and get help because he needs help.
Yes,
this man is
he
not
needs
safe.
help. He needs
He
to
is
grow
not
out
a
of it.
safe person to be around.
He needs to grow out of it. He needs to move on.
Oh, and let's talk about
And I don't
another
think he
thing Seth fucking did. He came home when I ran away and my grandpa got me out. Oh, yeah, let me just say, my grandpa came in the middle of the fucking night. I called my grandpa and said, I'm done with Seth. I cannot live with this person anymore. I don't feel safe around him. I didn't. I stopped feeling safe. Felt very threatened mentally and physically. I was tired of being hit and like hard punched. I was tired of being mentally guilt tripped. And I was tired of living in a fucking pigsty. I stopped cleaning that damn house because he didn't chip in. And I was sick of it. I was sick of his bullshit. So I wanted to go home. But I was too fucking scared to tell him because I know he would stop me. So I told my grandpa and I had him come in the middle of the night behind Seth's back to rescue me and get me out of there. I gave my kitten away to someone very, very nice. And she has been raising him very well and been sending me pictures of the cat.
You know what?
They also
Honestly, we
promised
might
and
as
they
well
also
be.
promised me that if Seth came looking for the cat, they would turn him away and call the police.
Yeah,
Because
we're all
I-
straight, but we might as well be, Jack.
I won't say what I know that Seth did to the cat, but I will say I fucking hate him for it. I won't get into it because it's actually illegal, but I won't get into it. It was what he did with my kitten. Oh, he always kept saying it was his though, because he took me to get the cat. It automatically made it his. No, Seth. When you give something to someone, that makes it theirs. It's
Yep,
called a
and you
present.
gave him a cat.
It's not yours. You don't get to treat it like that. So I gave my cat away, Simba, to protect him from Seth, because I do
He
not
found
want
a
Seth
really
raising
good
my
home
cat.
for him. He found a really good home
Simba
for him.
is extremely happy where he is. He's grown. He's a very good cat.
He stays in contact with the guy that gave him.
And I will say this: he was so scared of leaving me when I gave him away. He wrapped his paws around my neck, dug his claws into my shoulder, and held on, meowing. And
Honestly, I
saw-
wish you kept the cat, but I
saw
understand why you gave it away.
I saw a tear dribble down Simba's face when I gave him to the other person. Simba did not want to leave me. He loved me to death, but I couldn't take him back to Cali, and I wanted my cat to be safe from Seth.
Yeah.
So I gave my cat away. And it has been the hardest choice of my life to give Simba away, because I loved that cat with every ounce of my soul. But I was done with the bullshit from Seth. And then this motherfucker decides it's all right for him to start texting everyone in my community, including Justin, Vet, my friend. Seth chooses to start texting all of them. Do you know how many people sent me messages that day saying Seth just texted me? I don't know why. All of my friends were aware of the situation. Every single one blocked Seth except for Vet, because Vet didn't know the situation. But as soon as I told Vet was like, "Oh,
I
no,
even knew
I'm
the
done."
situation the
And
day of.
the reason Justin was okay with talking to Seth was because he didn't want to help Seth. He just wanted to get everything Seth was saying about me so he could tell me later on.
Hey, Steven's not just the girl. I'm here too. Dude, I'm telling you what. Both of us are in this situation together.
Yeah,
he
dude.
had the worst of it, but I had my fair share too. Trust me.
Being abused by this fucking, and then Vet was even like, I don't know why he's just texting everyone of your community when none of us are his friends. We don't even like him that much.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. None of my friends like Seth because of all the stuff he's done to me. They just tolerated him because I tolerated him. That's the thing. Even the girl who I was flirting with at the time, Abby, she covered for me when I left. When I ran away from that house. Abby, when Seth texted her, Abby covered and said she didn't know where I was. Abby and I don't talk anymore because Abby and I moved on from each other. But even Seth's IRL friends were covering for me so I could get away from Seth.
Yep.
Which goes to show what kind of a person Seth is. Seth can't hold his friendships.
And that's the thing. I got to see about a few hours of this a day. Steven saw 24/7 of this a day. And the 24/7 was way worse.
It was horrible living with him. It was just so many things about him was just so infuriating. His anger problems are off the charts. His lack of a care and accountability is disgusting. And I have no remorse for him or care for him because I can't stand someone like him. All right.
Yep.
I just got gonna start being loud. Yeah, that's fine. I just prefer to not have politics play. But yeah, that was our problem with Seth. And like we stated, this guy will do what he wants. He will probably see this.
Again, we don't care. I speak to this more for myself more than Steven here, but Steven can and say this too. Trust me, he can. When it comes to Seth, we wish you the best. What I said when I last spoke to him, what was go live a good life.
We want nothing.
I
but
still stand by that. I want nothing to do with him.
Well, I have similar to that. It's just, let me put it in better words, Dylan. We want you to get help, Seth, as soon as possible. Get help because you're not okay. You think you're fine, You're not fine, dude. You genuinely have a lot of problems. Go to therapy, get help, and instead of just talking and not actually improving, do it.
Yep.
It's not. We already know it's not possible as we're saying this.
Grow
we're
up
still-
and move on.
But
too.
we're gonna.
That's another
We
thing
can
you
lead a
need
horse
to
to
do.
water, but we can't make it drink.
Yeah.
Seth is the horse.
Yeah.
Seth, you have every opportunity to stop being this kind of person you are. You can be
Yep.
a better person. You can, but you need serious help. Serious help.
It's very true.
If you don't see what's wrong with you soon, you're gonna be lonely the rest of your life. That marriage you want will never happen. No, first off, no woman wants a dirty person like you.
And we want you to change. We want you to get
We
that.
want you to be better. And you know what? I'll say this: if you somehow became a much better person than you are, I will buy you fresh new action figures, and I'll talk to you online. I'll never live with you again, but I'll talk to you online because you know what?
Hey, if you
You
want to be
actually
friends with
lie.
them, that's your business. I
Oh
don't
no,
want.
dude. I'm not saying I want to be friends, but I'll say I'll talk to him every now and then. But at the most I'll buy him his figures back.
Yeah.
Send his figures back to him. But you know, but right now I'm not going to do anything because you have no repercussion. You are not a good person and you need serious help. But we will never
And when I close up this live stream,
yeah,
we're done. We don't want to talk about this stuff anymore.
we're done
We
being
really don't.
we're never being friends with you. And no matter what you think you can say to us through a Discord call, you're not going to mend this. You can't win us over with words
No,
anymore
you
and
can't.
manipulation. You need to start doing stuff if you want friends. You can't just talk people into being friends with you, Seth. You have serious problems. And I don't care what you say to your family. You could do whatever you want. Just know the angrier you get from this, the more problems you have. If you
That's
can,
actually fantastic, Jacksaw. That's actually funny because I was just talking about tattoos. I actually want to get one.
same dude. I got a tat as well.
I want to get a tattoo, but it's gonna be a while.
Dylan, if you come down to the California, I've got someone who'll give you one for free.
Awesome, man. Might take you up on that.
But yeah, guys, that's the thing. Dylan and I will be on each other's channels still. We're still friends.
Yeah, we're
But-
still friends. I mean, of course, I have my new channel, and my new channel, it's something completely different. Steven's not even into it. And it's honestly just me, which is just fine.
I'm a Minecraft
But
YouTuber.
he's a Minecraft YouTuber now, and I have my
I'm
own
gonna
thing.
be directing a movie, guys.
Yeah.
So, it's just we got our own things we want to do, and Star
You
Wars,
should
Marvel.
never rush it, Dylan. It'll change the way people see you. No, dude, I want to get a pair of wings on my back. That's what I want to do. I'm not even
Don't
kidding.
get a back tattoo, Dylan. That's the most painful kind of tattoo. Not the back.
That's
Start
why I keep hearing, but I really want one.
No, dude. Telling you from people who have gotten tattoos, they even say don't do it. Don't do it. It's the worst pain imaginable.
I know, dude, but I really kind of want one. So I don't know. It's gonna. There's a couple things that I want to get when I achieve something. I have a goal to achieve, and when I achieve that goal, I might get wings on my back.
Also, guys, if Dylan and I ever meet up in real life, you will see a live stream or a video. We won't be living with each other.
Oh, you definitely will.
Yeah. Well, we won't be living with each other, but we'll probably run into each other at some point or arrange like a meetup. Just because Dylan and I have been friends for almost as long as I've been friends with a lot of people from
Yeah,
Seth.
so I was friends with Seth for 4 years, and I was friends with you for about, I think, going on 3, right?
Well, we're soon gonna pass the 4-year mark.
Yeah,
if we keep going for a couple more years.
definitely.
And that's
Definitely.
the thing. Dylan and I are busy people right now. We have our goals and initiatives.
Yeah.
But what we're doing
And they're
is trying
separate
to
from
put
each other.
ourselves-
We actually don't get to talk to each other a lot, which is a
And the-
shame because both
Guys,
of us are so
The
busy.
other reason I came back to California is Dylan and I both want to grow as people.
Yep.
And we couldn't do that with Seth. We
Nope,
wanted to
we
be better
couldn't.
people. The thing is, everyone should strive to be the best version of themselves. You know, and the other day I saw Seth talking shit on how much college kids make. He called himself street smart. Seth, you are not street smart. All right. First off, second off, you don't know what that means. All right. You're not street smart. You wouldn't last 10 minutes on the street. You just college kids, just because college kids make less than you, and the fact that you had to flex that you make more than college kids means you're upset about something. Because here's the thing you need to know about Seth. When he talks shit on someone else, he's usually feeling bad about himself.
Yeah.
So Seth was feeling very shitty about himself when he did this. I'm guaranteeing you.
Absolutely.
And why am I saying this with so much confidence, ladies and gentlemen? Because we know Seth.
We do. Both of us.
Know him way too well, and that's why we don't like him.
It's not that bad. My arm was about 7 hours. Yeah.
But, getting away from the abuse, the toxicity, and all this BS from Seth.
You got a whole sleeve, right, Jack's Law? You got a whole sleeve done?
Oh, you got a sleeve, dude? Sick. I'm trying to get another tattoo, Jack's Law. Let me know what you think I should get on my left arm.
I think you got a sleeve. I'm not sure.
Dylan, I'm gonna get a second tattoo on my arm.
7 hours. I mean, 7 hours. I know that tattoos are slow, but 7 hours. I think you got a whole sleeve.
Dude, dude, it can go for 7 hours, just in one session.
Yeah.
See, it takes forever to get tattoos done. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, it's like Dylan said. The moment this is over, we're done. And Seth, don't think that you could go live on YouTube and start creating infinite streams where we talk back and forth until we go on stream together and settle this, like, as you would say, men. Seth,
because here's the fact: us talking about this is us selling this like men. You went live first. We decided to talk this out and end this conversation right here, right now. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, but we don't want to talk about it with Seth because he's very manipulative and guilt tripping.
Honestly,
we have
I'm talking it to the audience that was watching him last night. He had a couple people watching him last night.
I know. But, we're speaking our side because he wanted to go live and complain about us. Because, he just has problems like that. He always needs to make everything everyone else's business.
Full Metal Alchemist Scars Brothers arm. That's cool, man.
That's cool.
Full Metal Alchemist, that's a great anime. I don't think Steven knows what that is.
Yeah, I don't think so. But, Seth, you're not going to eventually put us in VC and settle this like men. First off, neither of us even consider you a man. You're immature. You're dirty. You're not a good person. You cannot call yourself a man until you grow as a person. You're still the same person. You have not grown at all. So, until we see the real improvement, we can't consider you a man. And talking out like men, no, Seth, you just want to guilt trip us into being friends.
No, we're actually men because we're trying to be the best we can be, and we're growing as people. That's
and we have our opinion of you. We want nothing to do with you, and we have no interest in speaking to you. And if you want to go on live and say, "Oh, the reason they don't want to talk to us is because you would change your answers if I was in the stream with you," no, we would say the same exact thing. Actually, I might have said a bit more actually if you were here, because it's just mad I have been at you, but I've decided to put it all to the side and be done with it.
Yep, same.
But you being here wouldn't change a thing. We'd still say all of this, and then. No, I'm good. I might have my orange chicken tonight.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. But Seth, this is not a situation where.
There's rice in the refrigerator, so you don't need to make it.
Can you show me where it's at, please? Or at least.
Go look for it, honey. I don't know where it's at.
Paul, where is it at?
It's in a round one with a red top.
I'll find it. Nana, check on her. She's coughing. But yeah, guys, like Dylan and I said, this is it. This is the closure.
This is the closure. We're done.
And Seth, you can't just text us on Facebook or Discord and be like, "Come on," and the link will
And
settle.
again, we didn't even want to do this live. We did not want to do this live stream at all.
No, we are doing it because Seth thought it was a brilliant idea to go live on YouTube and
And
say,
then talk about us.
"Yeah,
So
Seth."
we just have to, and we're not trying to be like mean or rude or anything like that. No, we're trying to give our
Oh, and
side of the story.
I want to say one
be
last
done.
thing, Dylan.
Go ahead.
Can I say one last thing? Seth, when
ahead.
we were talking in the car and I was agreeing with you, a lot of the time I was just giving you fake responses to see who you are as a person. I never agreed with a lot of the stuff you said because I thought there was something wrong with you. But I went along with it because A, I cared about you as a person, and B, because I wanted to know who you were as a person. So don't for a second try to say that I was always on your side because I never was. I just acted like it because you were a scary person and I was worried about my own personal safety.
Thing is, I was on his side, but I didn't know him like you did.
Dude, I was on his side for maybe a week and then I started having problems with him.
Yeah.
That's just who he is. He creates so many talking scary problems that we have to deal with and it's just so wrong. So
All right. Well, we've
Yeah.
been going on for over an hour and a half. It's 10:30 where I'm at. It's getting
Dylan,
late.
I might call you on a VC after this.
Yeah, after this, we should definitely call and hang out and chat. But
I also
think
don't have Seth blocked on Facebook or Instagram, but that doesn't mean I don't have him unblocked because I don't like him or because I want to be friends with him because I haven't had the time to unblock him. But just with that being said, even with that being the case, I'm still not going to respond to him if he messages me. I'm just going to mute him because blocking makes it
I
out
don't think he has contact with me. I don't think I have contact any. I think the worst he could do is email me.
Well, that's the thing. Even if he does, I'm just gonna ignore him.
I'm not gonna respond.
I hate him.
We're done. This is it.
I just don't want to talk to him because I've had my time with him and I never want to be around him again after living with him one time. He proved to me what kind of a person he was. My grandma was concerned for me the whole time. When my grandpa saw the house that I was living in, he was horrified of the condition I was living in. And he looked at me and said, "Whose is this?" I said, "All of this is Seth's mess. He expects me to clean it, but I left it out for him to essentially let it build up so he could see just what kind of a person he was."
Yep.
Grandma.
And when it comes to me, my last words are, again, we wish you the best. I wish you the best.
I'm trying to be professional here. I really need you to stop.
I'm done.
I get that you don't have respect for YouTubers, but this is the
That's
one
not
time.
about that. It's about my mother being deathly ill. So please be quiet.
She can't.
I'm just gonna mute him for a second so I can talk real quick, and I think he knows this. But anyway, yeah. I'm just about done with
Okay. Yeah, sorry, dude. I keep she just doesn't have any respect for.
Yeah, no, it's fine, bro. She doesn't know the situation and how bad the situation is.
She has to an extent. She just doesn't. She's just not concerned because it's not a current problem. We have another problem happening.
Yeah, but anyway,
you have to call
for me, my last words to Seth is again. I stand by what I said. I wish you nothing but the best. I really, really do. Go live a good life.
I'll go on the balcony. How about
we're done.
Close the door.
I think that's about it.
That's
about it.
So, guys, yeah, like I said, my grandma has a good reason right now for wanting me to be kind of quiet because my great grandma is very ill. So that's why I'm not really mad at her. But it is closed, Nana.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well,
guys,
anyway.
Dylan and I are gonna go on a call. Seth,
yeah.
If you respond, we're going to find out about it. But you're not gonna get the reaction you're hoping for. I promise you that.
Yep. Nope. This is it. This is the end. So
Just
this
know
is the
that
last time I'm planning to put this behind me. Steven's playing put behind him.
Yeah.
We grew up. We moved on. He stay in the same place. I hope he gets better.
I've honestly
That's like the
forgotten
last
about
I
my
have
time
to
with
say
Seth
about it.
almost entirely. I've put the memories away, and I never want to think about him again after this.
Anyway, guys,
Yeah.
see you later.
See you later, boys.
Bye.
All right.
Stream.